Hey everyone, and welcome to Sideline Creatives podcast, which is part of the Jersey Nerds Media Group. I'm Mads, and you might know me from at It's Mads Art on Instagram and Twitter. And this is
I'm Alex, also known as AJ Con Designs on Instagram and Twitter. Yeah,
nice. And so what is Sideline Creatives?
uh,
Um,
go ahead.
oh.
Tell us about it.
Yeah, I will. Sideline Creatives, we really just wanted to make something to uplift other creatives in sports. So there's so many people that are just making amazing work and doing amazing things, like not just graphic design, but you have videographers and photographers and illustrators and all that cool stuff. And I don't know, sometimes they just get kind of looked over. And so this podcast, the goal is to kind of highlight these people, boost them up, and yeah,
We're gonna
learn
be
about their
doing,
process.
we're gonna be doing some interviews. We're highlighting people, some people that we've seen and followed on Instagram or Twitter, or just through the community. And we want to talk to them about their process and their experience as creatives in sports, and what it all means to them, maybe how they got into it, all that good stuff.
And I think
Um,
that,
oh, go ahead.
oh, I think that there's just so much that we don't learn. Like, if you went to school for it, I don't know. I did.
Did
There's
not.
a lot that sometimes they just don't teach you about, like, going into the field. And so that's kind of what this is for too, like learning from people that are doing it or wanting to do it, like what they're learning along the way, and what they're finding out. Because sometimes we're just kind of struggling together and making our own little path.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 100% self-taught, so which we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Um, so I've definitely seen a lot of that, like, what the heck am I doing? And
Yeah.
I've had a lot of really great mentors along the way. And it's really nice to have someone to talk to go over
Mhm.
ideas with, and just someone to bounce, like, how did you handle this sort of situation? And so that's what we want to do, is give people who might be interested in the field or are already in sports creative stuff a chance to uh, just sort of listen
Shine.
to different stories and learn, and then also just have a place to like hang out and chat with people who are
Yeah.
really cool. I mean, that's really the end goal here. We want to have conversations with cool people
Yeah.
like
That's a
you.
great way to put it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we are going to be talking about other people, but today on this episode, we thought that we would introduce ourselves a little bit, and talk about our journeys through being sports creatives, and our journey through art and design and all that stuff. So, do you want me to go first? I can go ahead and start.
Yeah, go for it. Go right in.
Um, yeah, so I'm Alex, like I said earlier. I am the definition of a Carolina sports fanboy. I went to NC State, just graduated. Um, so I'm a big Wolfpack fan. I follow the Panthers, the Hornets, Charlotte FC. The only one that's not Charlotte is the Yankees, which you can't really see on my hat because it's black on black. But
Extra burn
we'll let
tonight,
that
by
slide.
the
That's
way.
yes, yes. Uh, so that's because of my dad. But and then of course the Carolina Hurricanes, who got the win over the Rangers tonight. Big shout out to the boys for that one. And I
Yeah.
mostly focus on jersey design. So you might have seen some of the stuff that I've done. I don't know. You can go look at it now. My Instagram is AJCon Designs. But like I said earlier, I'm 100% self-taught. I actually started doing jersey design for Charlotte FC, not for the Hurricanes or for hockey at all. Because when they were at first announced, I was like, how cool would it be to like make a kit for Charlotte FC and have that? And, like, they didn't even have a name. I wanted it to be Queen City FC, but that didn't happen. Um, I think that's
I love it
Cincinnati's
so
fault.
much.
Yeah, I was really big into the soccer kit design for a while. Um, and I made some. I don't think I've ever posted them, but I think that my very first couple designs, I was in what, winter of 2019. So I'm still relatively new to this whole thing, but I have loved it the entire way. Um, and so when I first started, I had no idea what I was doing, and I just sort of practiced, and I met a lot of really cool people. Um, my very first template was that I ever used was a web pixum template, and Brandon's an awesome guy. He has answered a million questions I've asked him. So big shout out to him for that.
That is
Yeah.
also, like, something that I just appreciate so much, like, those people that you can literally go to them for any question, and they're more than happy to reply. That is so rare to find, and I appreciate them. So, yes,
Yeah.
thank you, dude.
Yes. Yes. Um, and like that's something that I've found for a lot of people in sports. Like, and like I will not cold call, but like cold call people on Instagram and Twitter all the time. And I'm like, I like the stuff that you make. Tell me more about it. And can you
Mhm.
look at some of the stuff that I've made? Like Dan Design Shark, like I have DM'd him about logo design a million times, and he has been a huge help. Like, he's an incredible guy. Uh, and like I had never done design work ever, and I was like, hey dude, like, or I'd never done logo design really ever, and I was like, hey dude, I need help. And he was so happy to talk to me. So he's been a great mentor. Um, and then like Dallas, Kirkpatrick Designs,
Mhm.
Maplewood Hockey, or Maplewood Athletics now. He was a really big help when I first started doing hockey jersey designs. Because I wanted to do jerseys for the Canes, and I was like, it's like, oh man, this dude's jerseys are sick. So
Yeah.
I DM'd him again. Never talked to him before. Just like followed him on Instagram. DM'd him. I was like, do you have any tips? Can you look at this jersey and tell me what you think? And he was like, yeah, sure. I sent it to him. He's like,
Aw.
that's a solid start, but there are a lot of things that you can fix. And looking back on those first jerseys, which I don't know, maybe we can find some of those and throw them in post, but
Yeah.
they, they are not good. Looking back on them now, but hey, that's part of
It
making things.
it
I think
definitely
I
is.
said something to someone in the Jersey Nerds Discord the other day that was like, if you still like stuff that you made when you first started, then you like if you don't like stuff that you made when you started, that's really a good sign because it means that you're growing and developing
Yes.
as an artist and you've figured out some new tips and tricks.
It's
But
kind of
don't let
bittersweet in a way.
yeah. I mean, you're like when you start out, you're like, oh yes, this is so good. I love this.
Yes.
And then you look back on it like 6 months later, and you're like, what was I
Yeah.
doing? But
Which is
you know,
crazy that sometimes it's as short as 6 months, you know?
I know.
Like, in
Yeah,
your mind, sometimes you think it's gonna be, like, 5 years, but as you said, it can be literally, like, months away, and you're like, "Oh my god, I've grown so much since then."
yeah. And I mean, trends and styles change so quickly, especially in sports. Like you get all sorts of cool things, and like you see something that's cool, and you're like, okay, I kind of want to replicate something, but put my own spin on that. And then it
Mhm.
becomes like a trend or a style, and you're like, okay, like I really like this. And then you look back on something that you did 6 months ago, or a year ago, and you're like, okay, what was that? What
You were
was
in a silly, goofy mood.
I was in a silly, goofy mood. Um, but yeah, so that's sort of, I guess, how I got into it. I started with soccer, and I just went through jersey design stuff. Um, I've designed for a bunch of different teams, like kids teams, junior teams. I designed a jersey for SpaceX, which is awesome. Speaking of being self-taught, I am not a designer by trade. I just graduated with a degree in aerospace engineering, so
Which is
not
so
a
cool.
yes,
I
yeah.
love
So
that so much.
this background that you see here will change shortly. I'm moving across the country, so That'll be fun. Yeah, but sorry, I'm leaving Mads. We both
Yeah.
live we both live nearby, so I'll be leaving her sadly. But I've talked about myself enough. I want to hear about you because I don't think I've ever heard how you got started.
Oh boy. Well, so initially, this is gonna be like a long rabbit hole,
It's
but
fine. We have
come join me for
time.
the ride. Yep.
Yes.
Um, so like I don't know, in high school, I wanted to do art therapy. Um, and then I realized that I didn't want to be a therapist anymore. But
Hey,
I at that time,
don't blame you.
yeah, I realized I wasn't cut out for that. But at that same time, I was really interested in My Chemical Romance, and
Yes.
Gerard Way,
MCR.
the lead singer, actually does comics.
Oh,
And
what?
he has Umbrella Academy, and then he has there's a long title, but in short, it's Killjoys. Um, and because I was in love with MCR, had like a whole fan page and stuff like that dedicated to it. I ended up just getting into the comics as well, and I really loved the connection elements and the way that I was able to feel connected to those characters. Um, and one, I didn't realize that like you could do art for a living, which is kind of, I don't know, that's that's kind of dumb. But I really didn't realize that there was like a concrete field for that, and I was like, yo, this is fun. This is something that like I actually want to do, and I would love to do this. So I applied to UNC Charlotte for illustration, and I went into it really thinking that I was just going to dive into comics. I quickly learned that my style is like not my comic style, not it, not good.
I have to
Um,
see these comics now. I feel like that's something that we should dig up. If we're gonna show my early designs, I feel like we should see some of your comics.
okay, we'll see. I'll see if I can find some stuff from like the
Yes.
beginning semesters because it's a little not my favorite. But as you said, growth, learning, lots of fun stuff
Yes.
there. Um, but yeah, I just really wasn't liking the style anymore. And then with um, that major, that concentration, you have to do two things outside of like what you're actually studying. So I ended up going for like oil painting, trying out an oil painting class, and I fell in love with it. I fell in love with the way that paint felt. Fell in love with like how brushstrokes looked and stuff like that. And then I ended up taking a figure painting class, um,
Yo.
and I was like, this is amazing because I just get to paint people all day, and like I just loved the colors that go into like skin and the colors that go into, I don't know, it's colors that you just wouldn't think are there. And so I took that style and just put it digital. I don't know, I tried to figure it out, and I liked it a lot more.
I totally thought you said finger painting. Like, I was like, you took a finger painting class? That is the greatest thing that I've. But figure pa-
No, no, no,
figure
no, no.
painting does
Yeah,
make a lot
figure.
more sense. Figure
Yes,
painting.
figure.
No, okay, that.
No, apparently, I think it's just the way I say figure because everyone thinks I say finger and they think it's like the best time in the world. And I'm like, I
If
mean,
I could have, if I could have taken finger painting in college, I totally would have done that. That would be, man, I would have had the time of my life.
they probably still would have found a way to be like, this is the worst thing ever. No, I'm just kidding. Like in critiques, there were some critiques
Yes,
that were like brutal. And it's
I'm
just,
sure. I
I
have
don't
some
know.
friends who took or who are still in slash were in design at NC State, and they had like crit week was always brutal for them. So I
Yeah, it's
I
a tough
think that I think that's a tough part of being a designer is having your things that you've worked on for a really long time critiqued
Yes.
by people who are like, ah, yeah, I
Yeah.
like this, but you messed up in so many different
Yeah.
ways.
I
Everyone
missed
has their
all
own
the vision
opinions.
in my head.
Yes, exactly,
No, but I
exactly.
think that's, like, kind of on the flip side of that, it's so important that you, like, listen, and be open to critique. Like, obviously, there's some people that are just gonna grill you and think that
Yeah,
you're the worst creator ever. You can block out the haters, I don't care, but there's some critique that you should be kind of open to and
mm.
be like, "Okay, yeah, maybe I should change that."
I don't
Um,
remember who said it. I heard it either from someone I met. I don't know who said it, but it was like, or maybe it's a quote. It was like, if everyone likes your design, you're doing it wrong
that would make
because
sense, and that's
it's
for
too.
everything, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, if you're doing something that everyone likes, it's safe. Um, and like if you can push the boundaries a little bit, someone's not going to like it, but there are going to be a lot of people who really do like it because it's going to be new,
Yeah.
it's going to be different. Um, Getting yourself out of your comfort zone and making people think when they look at something, um, I think is a really important, because like if you get someone, I don't know, I think that making people think about what you've made and compare it to what they expect. Like if they get what they're expecting, they're like, ah, yeah, great, but it's
Mhm.
boring. You want to have
Yeah.
some fun with it.
Yeah, that's true. That's very
But
true.
continue critiquing
Oh.
figure
Um,
painting.
yeah, figure painting. So after painting, um, I don't know. I'm not really sure. I don't know. I just fell in love with it, and then I at some point got burned out with like actual school, and needed a break. And that was right around the time that I found hockey. I have it on the opposite spectrum of Alex. I don't follow any sports except for hockey, and I am a Canes fan. So
Who
that happened.
Speaking
What?
of, who are you wearing tonight? Whose jersey are you wearing?
Sped?
Twins. Let's go.
Twinsies. Yes. Sorry. That was so cute. But yeah. Um,
Hurricanes.
yes. Oh,
You
yes.
found
The Canes.
hockey.
The Canes. I found hockey. And 2019, I was just looking to have some fun again and not be burned out and not be stressed out with finals. So I ended up doing I would love to show this actually. I ended up doing Christmas themed cards of Sebastian Aho. And then at that time, Eric Hollow was still on the team too. So there was one for him. And then I posted that on Instagram, and people were like, "Oh, I love this so much." And then I was like, "Oh, they're such a nice little community. Like, maybe I'll share more work with them." And so my stress relief at that time was just making portraits and like making hockey art. And now that I'm done with school, I had like a period of where I was like, what do I want to do? Because I definitely didn't have it figured out and I definitely didn't have a job lined up. And so I just took a break from stuff, kept making hockey work, and now I'm here doing this podcast and making
Yes.
sports work.
Hey, and for all of you who are listening, you should definitely check out her Etsy shop because she has some very awesome
Oh,
pins.
no.
I
Oh
have
my god.
a couple of them. They are really incredible. I am by far the least talented like fine artist you might ever meet. Like if you look at some of the sketches that I have done for logos and stuff like that, they are horrific. I If you put me in front of a computer, I can work with that. A little bit more with an iPad, but like I can sketch a little bit better with an iPad. But if you give me pencil and paper, it's bad. I kind of draw like a
Honestly,
fourth.
same. I hate pencil and paper stuff. Like, I
Even
like having
paint,
my little paint. You don't like
even
paint?
paint. Well, I like paint. I just struggle.
That's understandable. Definitely understandable.
I think I just need to practice more, but it's kind of a struggle. I'm on the struggle bus when it comes to
That's the next episode. We just
yes.
I do something I hate and you do no.
We can do a painting with Alex and Mads episode, and you can paint something
Oh.
wonderful, and then I'll have like a little stick figure. I actually
You're
do
gonna come
really
out and have
enjoy.
like the best thing in the world.
I do really enjoy painting. I like acrylic paints, um, but I'm not
Didn't you do
patient.
like a little mountain or something? Am
I
I
have
remembering this wrong?
yeah, I have a couple. I might have a picture of
Aw.
that one. But
Bring
there,
it in.
yeah, I will. I'll show it sometime. Um, it's currently at my apartment, which I am not at. Uh, so yeah, like I don't know. I'm just always in awe when you're painting either in real life or digitally because I'm like I don't have the patience to blend. When you're talking the other day, you're like, yeah, I spent 30 minutes on the part of this helmet, and I'm like, I could never ever do that in my entire life. I would give up immediately. Um,
Oh my god.
but I'll
But
spend
uh,
but I'll spend 30 minutes staring at a gradient on a jersey to figure out if it's right.
which is amazing to me. Like, okay, so Alex has been doing like so much of our graphics work, and we've been like FaceTiming and stuff and working through it, and watching how fast he does designs is insane to me because on the flip side, my mind doesn't work that fast. I'll stare at a computer screen for like the design side of stuff and be like, no, 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 no. But Alex is just like crazy. It's insane. It's like it's amazing.
Sometimes my brain moves at a million miles an hour, but it be that way. Yeah.
Cool
Um,
superpower to have.
I think that makes us a good team. And it's been like since joining the Jersey Nerds Discord and like talking to you, like having people to bounce ideas off of. And I know I said this already, but I'm gonna keep saying it. Like having people to
Hey.
talk to about your design and like finding people that you can get criticism from and like be like, okay, like what do y'all think of this? Um, is so important because if you're just sitting there
Mhm.
staring at it by yourself, you're like, okay, I really like this. And if you never share it with anyone, like, yeah, you made it. Like it's still
Right.
really cool. It's really cool. But
Right.
sharing it with people and getting feedback is what's gonna help or has helped me uh grow and
Mhm.
like learn a lot of different like techniques.
Yeah.
Man, like
I
I think back about the first. I'm still thinking about those first couple jerseys that I made, and they are interesting.
And I think it's so great that you're like, I'm gonna keep saying this because honestly, we are. Not just this episode, but for episodes to come. We are going to keep saying that it's important to have people to bounce off of because that's the point of this. That's
Yes.
literally the point to talk to others and hear their process. That's why it's important because, like we are bouncing off of each other. And that was something when I got out of college that I missed so much. And like I give critique sessions so much crap because you do have those people that are just the stereotypical eh. But I missed hearing people's ideas. I missed hearing people's thoughts about my work so that I can better myself. But also it's just really cool seeing what people are making, and then from that, like, you get a new idea and you're like, oh, let me try this too. And it's just this ongoing cycle. And that was something that I just really missed. So, again, meeting people like you. And then shout out to Roland too, because he was someone that kind of reintroduced me to basically bouncing off people's ideas and stuff like that. Like, I, I missed it so much. And I'm so glad that we get to do that.
So I think that is really like what we want this to be is to have like a place where we can talk to people and give them a space to share their story and all of the what they've learned and what they enjoy about it, what they don't enjoy about it maybe and what
Yeah.
they like. I mean, it's not all sunshine and rainbows.
No, exactly. There's yeah. And I
But
think that's another thing that, like, gets overlooked too. Like sometimes we just see the good, and then we're like, oh wow, that's so like it becomes glorified almost in a way.
Mhm.
But there are definitely negatives, and there are definitely positives too. Um,
I mean, you look at
Balance.
it. Yeah, it's a really difficult thing to balance. I mean, you look at a team's like a hockey, football, basketball team's Instagram, and you see all these really cool like graphics. Like, I mean, the NFL just had their release of all of their schedules, and the Chargers made an anime, and the
Oh
Panthers
wow,
did a bunch of like '90s sitcoms, and like the people who come up with those ideas, like everyone's like, oh yeah, like this is incredible, but the people who made them don't necessarily get the credit and recognition they
right?
deserve, and so we want to give it to them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I think that is really the main goal here. And
Um,
I mean, I don't have all that much else to say. I don't think we've been. I feel like I've been rambling a little bit, but
no, I.
it
Well,
it certainly has been fun.
yeah.
I'm very excited
And
to see who all we get to talk to and what all we get to talk about
yeah,
in the coming episodes.
yes, I it's like this is gonna sound so corny, but I like a few nights ago I just couldn't fall asleep because I was literally thinking about like one this because I was kind of nervous, but two thinking about the future as well, like the people that we're gonna get to talk to and just the things that are gonna come from it. I'm very genuinely like so excited, and the fact that it's been like I don't know. It's been a year in the making.
It has been a long
No
time
one,
coming.
I don't think anyone knows that, but it's been a year in the making. Um, and to finally get to it and finally actually dive in, after kind of like avoiding it and jumping around it, like to jump in and finally get to it, I'm so excited and
Yes.
I'm thankful that you guys are joining in on the journey.
Mhm.
Hopefully, you'll stick around for a little
Yes.
bit longer. Um, but yeah,
Well, I think that is a successful first episode.
yes.
Well, thank you guys all for listening. And a big thank you to uh, Bepo for helping us get this all set up.
Yes,
Um,
thank you, Bipo.
yes, and we will uh, hopefully be talking to you guys again soon. So,
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you again.
Just
All right, I
producing a
think
podcast. How about you?
yes.